going on, everybody? This is the newest show that we came up with. We're calling it RB67, your all go-to Star Wars show for YouTube. Well, hope to be. I'm Darth Crimson, a.k.a. Jay Quinn.
I'm Jedi Master Grady, a.k.a. Ryan Grady.
So our purpose for the show is to keep you up on news of Star Wars, different reviews of episodes. We're going to have episodes out there that our main topic at the end of the show is going to be maybe the expanded universe books that we like that we got into, video games of games that are no longer canon that they should be, everything Star Wars related. I'm a lore hound, so I like to read everything. I like to watch everything. I like to play everything, just because Star Wars has been my love since I've been 8 years old. My grandmother took me to A New Hope, and I was stuck ever since.
Yeah, our main topic today is going to be about the newest show, Ahsoka. I'd say my earliest memory of Star Wars is for Christmas getting the VHS box set of the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. Some people out there might not even know what VHS is nowadays, but
yeah, that's going back.
That was all we had back then. That's probably my earliest memory. I always loved science fiction. I don't know. I was never a popular kid in school or anything, so being able to see these shows, movies, whatever science fiction that can take you to another world, another place. People have different abilities, whatever it is. That's
Absolutely.
always interesting, sparks the imagination. What would you say got you into science fiction and Star Wars? Just
the thought of the unknown. We don't know what's out there. And when you don't know what's out there, your mind starts thinking about what's out there. And then I saw Star Wars, and it was just like, this is fucking fantastic. Like, this is what I love. This is what I was born for. And like I said, I've been a Star Wars fan ever since.
Absolutely. All right, so let's kick off our main topic, the Ahsoka show.
Well, before we get there, let's rewind a little bit first. I want to talk about the state of Star Wars in our opinion.
Okay.
Under this new TV show movies. Now, in my opinion, again, on this show, you're going to get real opinions. You're not going to get the shills. You're not going to get it's Disney, you got to love everything. No, bullshit. They put out shit, and I'm going to call it shit. You got the first movie, Force Awakens, which was good. It wasn't great. It was good. It had an idea where it was going, and that's what I was more excited about. Then we got the second movie, which left fans 50-50 because in my opinion, that movie's trash. I think it's a horrible, horrible film. And then you got Rise of Skywalker, which could have been good if they would have split it into two different films. But instead, you left it open for coincidences and all this other shit that just does not work in Star Wars for me. I hated it. And then you go against your own canon. Like, your canon is your Bible. It's what your whole property's about. And then you're going to change it to match the movie. It was bad.
I mean, I think the death of Leia probably played into that too as well, because she wasn't able to be in the last movie.
Without a doubt. But then when they were like Mandalorian, I was like, oh, okay, Mandalorian, cool. I go, what is a Star Wars show going to be? What is it going to look like? And then we got it, and we're like, dude, that was dope. And then we get the second season, which is just as good, if not better. And then we get Boba Fett, which was not good in my opinion, but okay. But then everything in a row, I mean, you had Andor, you had Obi-Wan, you have Ahsoka, which anything under Filoni and Favreau right now has been gold, straight gold. Anything, like, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, I know other people have different ones. In my opinion, it should be Favreau running Lucasfilm in Kathleen Kennedy's spot and Filoni being the backup. Because between both of them, they have put out nothing but hit after hit after hit after hit.
They know how to create a good Star Wars show, and I like how all the newer shows, they're linking them together and combining them together, so you get these crossovers, and it all ties into everything.
Absolutely. Also, I mean, even look at Andor, which I said straight out is the most different Star Wars show than you've ever seen. There's no Jedi. There's no powers. There's none of that. You have just the rebels starting and how they dealt with the Empire and how evil the Empire was from the ground level. That was exciting to me.
Yeah,
Exciting
absolutely.
to me. Then we go on to Obi-Wan, which, in my opinion, is the second best lightsaber fight we've ever seen. And again, it's between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like, that whole lightsaber battle at the end was incredible. And not just that. I know a lot of people complain about the whole Leia part of the show, and it was like, oh, that was stupid. Whatever. I thought it was good to show you what kind of a parental role that Obi-Wan is trying to take by looking over Luke. And you get to see Vader in his rawest form besides Rogue One and just being a beast. Like, walking on there, grabbing her, throwing her up in the air and being like, I will kill you if you disobey me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that show, and I mean, despite what people say about Leia, I don't know the actress's name that plays the little girl.
Oh, she's
but,
incredible.
oh my God,
Incredible.
she was brilliant in that show. Like, she was so funny and so witty and smart, and it was just amazing.
It was great. I love it, and I can see her growing into Carrie Fisher in that character. I can see it. It was put there. Again, Favreau and Filoni are gold. Are gold.
Absolutely.
Well, brings us on to Ahsoka. Now, we'll first start it off with, before we get into it and we start like getting really into it, what did you think overall of Ahsoka season 1?
I loved the show. I mean, I thought it was great. I loved seeing basically the continuation of Rebels, to see, you know, what's going to happen with Ezra and Thrawn in the other galaxy, and I just absolutely loved the show.
Absolutely.
And I mean, Dave Filoni created it, directed most of the episodes, wrote the show. I mean, it was bound to be gold.
Oh, absolutely. Anything they touch, again, and it's going to be a never-ending code word in this episode, gold. Whatever they touch turns to gold. Now, overall for me, I thought it was incredible. I thought from beginning to end, Rosario Dawson is made for that role. She is that character. My thing is, though, it should have not been called Ahsoka at all. Ahsoka title should have been gone. It should have never been Ahsoka. It should have been Rebels season whatever, because I can't think of how many. I think it's 5. I think this will be the 5th season. It should have been just called Rebels season 5, because this is Rebels. Rebels completely. It's the continuation of Rebels.
All the same characters, everything.
The only thing
Hera and
absolutely Hera, like, again, the casting. Let's talk about casting. Rosario Dawson is Ahsoka. Perfect. Hayden Christensen coming back as Vader and Anakin. Perfect.
Can't have anybody else.
Elizabeth Winstead as Hera. Perfect. Like, it's nonstop. Perfect casting. Perfect casting all across the board. And again, this is happening at the same time as Mando. So when season 2 comes out, which will not be until after the movie comes out, when that does come out, we are going to see a lot more blending of them all, because this is all Filoni's universe. Everything that's included is in this universe. Mando, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Andor, Skeleton Crew that's coming, I think, at the end of this year or early next year with Jude Law. That's going to be sweet. That's going to be in this as well, because it's supposed to be like a Goonies in space, which I'm so in for. And then we have the one show still that we're still waiting for is The Acolyte, which is going to be great as well. But we're getting off topic. Let's go back.
Have they confirmed a second season of Ahsoka?
No. They're not going to until after the movie, because that's the next thing that Dave Filoni and Favreau are working on. Is the Mandoverse movie that's going to have everything all into it. Like, all the characters that you've seen so far, they're going to be in that movie, because it's their universe movie.
Yeah, because they set it up for a second season, but if they
Oh,
include
absolutely.
that in the movie, then it might just be a one-off. And
I hope there's a second season.
They end whatever happens in the movie.
I hope there's a second season, because if there's not a second season, the way they ended it is whack. Like, you cannot just be like, well, this is the last you're going to see these characters, and we'll just leave them on a planet. Bye. No, that you can't do that. That is such a weak ending. I mean, come on. You got to give us more resolve. Yes, they have to die, though, because if you remember, by the time The Force Awakens, there's not many Jedi left. And I'm talking none left. What happens to them? And you can't just be like, oh, well, read this in a book. No, you had to spend season after season with Ezra and Sabine. There's got to be some resolve to that. You cannot just be like, well, here, you want to know what happens to them? They're in the universe. Here's read some books. No, that's going to piss a lot of people off and a lot of true Star Wars fans off because we want to know what happens. This is our favorite franchise, our favorite story.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't. So let's get into what are certain scenes that you liked in this season that it just blew your mind to watch? Because I have a few.
I think one that I really enjoyed was when they first introduced Thrawn.
Yes.
And all the troopers are standing there, and there's Thrawn.
Did you notice they're all like? Did you notice they're all had the paint of the witches of Dathomir?
Yes.
They might be dead. They might be undead soldiers because that's in the comic books. They bring the dead back.
Yeah,
if
and
that
later on
is
in the season when they kill the troopers, he tells them now, and then they all rise back up, and they're like, oh man, oh no.
Absolutely. Like, the way they were like that and the way that you saw, because the character with the gold mask, in the comic books, he's known for resurrecting and resurrecting things, and so is Thrawn, because he gets into the whole magic of the Force. Which is cool why they brought the witches in. I thought that was cool because they brought the dark magic as well. So, my thing is, I love the fact that we have this dead army. And they're just like more like Hitler regime, because that's, if you remember, that's what the stormtroopers were based off. They were based off Nazi Germany and the Nazis. And if they can do something cool with like dead zombies for Star Wars, that would be so badass. Because they've done everything else. Why not? Why not? Because you don't know what's out there in space. So what else in that show that really blew your mind this season?
Well, I mean, I really love the character Ahsoka, and one part that sticks out is, I mean, early on she claims she's not a Jedi or whatever, and when she gets the map from the temple and Hu Yang asks her how she got the information from Morgan, she just says, "Let's just say I didn't use standard Jedi protocol," and I was just like,
oh yeah,
man, I love that. I'm like,
well, they did her dirty, man. They did her dirty, and I understand.
How about yourself? I mean, what's some big moments you got in your mind?
All right. I'm going to talk about this because this is something I wanted to talk about for a bit ever since I seen it, and nobody's talking about this at all. No Star Wars fans have been talking about this at all. First, I want to talk about when my favorite part of this whole thing. Her in the world between worlds. I don't like how she ended up there because Ezra actually had to find a way in through a cave. I don't like how they were trying to say it's in her mind, but okay, I'll let that slide, whatever, because the awesomeness of this whole next thing is amazing. The fact that we get to see him bring her through a trial by combat with lightsabers is amazing. The fact that we get to see the Clone Wars in live action and hearing snips, amazing.
I was just gonna say, I think that was my favorite part. Is like the first thing you hear is Anakin's voice, Hayden Christensen. He goes, "Hello, Snips." I'm like, oh my god.
And it shows you in that scene, in those scenes, it shows you why the Jedi lost, why they lost, and why they became what they became. It was game over for them as soon as they became soldiers.
Instead of peacekeepers.
Exactly. The moment they become soldiers, the whole Jedi Order falls apart, and Palpatine knew that. The fact that you had little kids, and I mean, Ahsoka was a kid, and she was a general in the Great Army of the Republic. You're a child. What do you know about killing another person? Like, it's messed up. Another part I liked about that whole segment, because that's literally my whole favorite part of the whole show, is the fact that not only do you see him walk into the smoke and you see the flash of Vader when he walks, and then when he comes toward her, you see Vader again flash. It's showing you what can happen when you let it corrupt you and what he became because of his values. It was awesome.
And also when he's coming at her at the end, his skin gets darker, and then his eyes go that red color, and he's coming at her, and then when she decides to not kill him after she beats him, everything changes back to Anakin again. And
what I also loved, and again, Filoni has been very good on lighting. And I'll give you an example. Obi-Wan, when you had that scene with Vader with the half the mask cut off, and the blue light was there, and he was like, "I stop blaming yourself. You didn't kill Anakin. I did, and my undoing is not your fault." In so many little words, but then once the red light goes up, he goes, "And I will kill you." Like, you could see at that moment, that was that last, then that blue light was the last of Anakin to ever be shown again until he finds out about Luke.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ahsoka. The red light, the light in her facial expressions. You could tell she was about to tap into that dark side, like Anakin. But then she realized, that's not who I am. So she pulled back and it disappeared. And that's why she won. And what's funny, and this is what I was saying, nobody's talking about that I really, really, really want to talk about. The moment of Anakin's smile. Everyone's like, oh, he was just happy, whatever, because that she made the right choice. No, it's more than that. It's more than that. The fact that he knew in that red light, why they showed that red light, she could tap into the dark side. He knew she could become just like him. That's why he said, life and death. Do you want to live or do you want to die? She could be just like him. The fact that she chose life and saying, no, I'm good. That smile came across. He saved somebody from going down that same path. He does that again with Luke. The thing right there, I am a Jedi like my father, throws the lightsaber away. Like, he made that choice. He saved him at that moment from going down that dark side because that's what Palpatine wanted. He wanted Luke to be the new Vader because he wanted the raw power that Anakin couldn't give him anymore because he was in the suit.
Right, so the choice between life and death, they're not necessarily talking about dying, they're talking about the death of Ahsoka, just like Anakin Skywalker died and became Vader, essentially.
Absolutely. So, another thing is, and this is a rumor, so I don't have any sources on this. This is just what I heard. It could be somebody full of shit. What I heard was what they wanted originally for the finale of Ahsoka was Starkiller coming back and actually being another one of Anakin's proteges or apprentices. Because if you remember in The Force Unleashed, he was Vader's secret apprentice. How cool would that would have been? Starkiller and Ahsoka battle with the apprentices. Take my money. I would have gave anything for that. What we got in the end was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good. It was a great landing. So I mean, they didn't screw the landing. They didn't not execute the good ending. They did what they could, and it was great. But how cool would that would have been? Like, how cool would that would have been? The only thing I did not like, and this is one of my biggest cons against Ahsoka, is how many times does she gotta have resting bitch face and put her across her arms across her chest? Like, you can make a drinking game out of that. Or how many times you can explain the same thing twice?
Yeah. I mean,
I never noticed that until you pointed that out.
Controlling her emotions and stuff like that. So but yeah.
And here's my thing: this is what I didn't understand either. Like, why train Sabine? She wasn't a Jedi. She wasn't Force sensitive. When I watched Rebels, I never took it that she was Force sensitive. I wonder why they wanted her to be Force sensitive. That's the thing I would love to ask Filoni, big time. Why? Why make her Force sensitive when she's not a Jedi? She's a Mando, to be quite honest.
And I love Hu Yang in that show, and he even says it
David Tennant, baby.
He says you have the worst aptitude for the Force of any Jedi I've ever seen.
No chill.
Yeah, doesn't care. And
no
he
chill.
Is hilarious throughout that entire show. Oh, it's.
He's savage. He is so savage. He does not care. He's just nope, don't care. Nope, you suck.
Yeah. There's one point when Sabine's trying to shoot down the TIE fighters that are chasing them, and he's trying to say something to Ahsoka, and she's like, "Not now, Hu Yang." He's like, "With the way you guys are acting, there might not be a later."
He's so good. But you notice, and you didn't know this until I mentioned it to you. The voice is David Tennant.
Yeah.
David Tennant, he's literally becoming like the geek god for everything. I mean, look at everything he's been in. He's been in Harry Potter. He's been in Doctor Who. He's been in this. He's been what else is he? He's been in the Marvel show of Jessica Jones. Like he is everywhere. He's like amazing. Like I want more David Tennant. Like legit, I want more David Tennant.
He's just a big geek like all of us, and he just wants to be in
I
all
want
these
him.
projects.
I want him in live action in Star Wars. Like, okay, I get it, great voice, but I want him on screen. Like he has that look on screen that just demands presence. Like when he was in, I mean, it's not a geek movie, but it's more of a horror movie. Fright Night remake. When he was in that as Peter Vincent, amazing. He looked good, looked great. But yeah, so I mean, Ahsoka overall for me, I just thought was a win, just a win, because it was such a breath of fresh air, to where we're still waiting for movies, and all these movies are getting canceled. You know, I'm gonna talk about that next.
Well, hang on, because I mean, not only did we get another great Star Wars show, but we got to see a lot of lightsaber action between
Oh yes,
Balin, Shin, Sabine.
Rest in peace him too,
Ahsoka,
man.
and just everything. So we got a lot of lightsaber action. Like obviously in Mando, there's not a whole lot. I mean, you get the dark saber a lot, but it's not Jedi's fighting, and you know what I mean. So that's another big part of Star Wars that
I'm glad
really
we got.
involved in that.
I'm glad we got. And Ray Stevenson, rest in peace, man. Like he killed it as Balin, and it sucks. We're not going to get anything else from him because he's dead unless they recast. Which Disney, please recast. I get it. You know, Balin was great doing that. I get it, but please recast. Like, because that character is amazing, man.
And they set it up at the end of Ahsoka for Balin, because I mean, he's talking about that higher power and what the witches of Dathomir are running from, and that he's looking for, and it has to do with these stories that he learned in the Jedi Temple, and they thought this was all folklore. So then he gets there, sees that all this stuff is real, so now he knows that this power is probably real.
Well, think about this too. Look at, I mean, the whole Mortis act of Clone Wars. Like the father is definitely Anakin. He's definitely Anakin, and the daughter is definitely Ahsoka. Who's the son?
Right.
That's why I think it was rumored, but they didn't pull the trigger on Starkiller coming back, because he could have been the son. Anakin's the father of two apprentices.
Right.
Like, I think that would have been great. I think that was good. I think they decided to cut it at the last minute. I think they have something else they want to do with Starkiller, but I really think that's where it was going. Because immediately, as soon as I saw that, I was like, he's the father of two apprentices. They're bringing Starkiller in, and this is his official debut in canon, and he was hidden away. Like, that's incredible. But they didn't do it, so I wonder what they're going to do with Balin's character. Again, recast. Don't end this character because he died. Yeah, it sucks. Ray Stevenson killed it as Balin. I loved his performance.
Yeah, they almost have to. I mean, even in the last episode, right at the end, he's standing on that giant mountain that's carved into an arm pointing, and then in the distance you see this light coming from this mountain, whatever pyramid, whatever structure it is in the distance. So he's obviously going to look for something. So for them to not recast him would be them just ending that right there then, and you'd never know what happens.
Absolutely. Plus, remember what they said from the beginning of this. They said this was going to lead into The Force Awakens. These shows are going to be on one story that you're going to see the beginning and foundation of the First Order. That's where they're going. And I really think, and I think this, again, this is not confirmed, this is what I think from watching the show, those dead soldiers are going to be who's in that final order with Palpatine. I think that's his army, because that looked about the same size. If you watch Rise of Skywalker and you see the whole army of stormtroopers he has on there, it's about the same size as before. So, I mean, I can see them being there because, I mean, but again, Rise of Skywalker's trash. I'm sorry. That movie sucks. I mean, I try to find things good about that film, and it's hard every time. It's hard.
There wasn't much great coming out of Star Wars for a little while after Disney acquired it, and I mean, Rogue One was the best movie we had in a long time, and there just wasn't much that was coming out for a while.
And I mean, they
so
missed.
Much better now.
They missed the one opportunity they had left, and that was to have Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Luke and Mark Hamill in this same scene together as a reunion, instead of having Harrison Ford not in the scene and it's supposed to be Luke's hologram. Dude, that's not what we wanted. We wanted everybody back together. We wanted Han and Chewie and Luke and Leia together again, and we didn't even get that.
Yeah.
We didn't even get that. And I mean, I hate to harp on like how bad these movies are, because I'm in the mind where if I don't like something, I don't really want to talk about it, unless I'm doing it for a podcast or something. But like, there's nothing, in my opinion, redeemable about these three movies.
And I mean, and there are some people out there that like those movies, and you know, that's
and that's fine. It's all subjective.
You like it for what you like it for. Other people might not. Like, everybody's always got a different opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I celebrate you. If you like that movie, I celebrate you, and I wish I could get out of it what you do, because to me, it goes against everything that Star Wars was taught, and the rules and canon, and just really bad. And you can seriously sense a agenda with these movies. Like, I would have been cool with, I mean, I get it. They were trying with 9. I get it for 9. I will say this. They tried their hardest to please fans as long as they could and as best as they could, because everybody hated, not everybody, but half the audience hated the last Jedi. And I get it, they were trying, but if you would have came out and said, listen guys, we know this is supposed to be a trilogy, but we're going to cut it in and you're going to get 10 films. Episode 10. I would have been like, okay, let's see what you got. But the fact that you, as soon as the crawl was up and you were like, hold your nuts and let's go, and you're in this fast like race car of a movie where everything is boom, 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 credits. Like, slow down. Let us digest what you're giving to us. Like, you're literally just like, take it, take it, take it, take it. Like, it's horrible. And again, if like you're making Rey this powerful character, I get it. You want to have strong female characters. I get it. Because there's a lot of young girls that watch Star Wars too. I understand. But do it naturally. Do it like you did with Princess Leia. Princess Leia was a badass. She never had to be like, I'm female, hear me roar. She was just badass, and we got behind her. This new generation with Kathleen Kennedy is shoving this Rey character down people's throats so much, it's making audiences sick. Like, by the time, I mean, we're gonna do a whole episode. Trust me, we're gonna do a whole episode.
I was actually gonna be like, we can make this a topic for a future episode.
Yeah, but I got one more thing to say, and we'll change course. Like, we're gonna have a whole episode based on Rise of Skywalker and what I didn't like. Because trust me, I got a lot to talk about, a lot to be pissed off about. Those are gonna be fun episodes. Trust me. But the fact of hate it or whatever. The main message by the end of Rise of Skywalker was be who you are. Embrace your lineage. Who cares who your lineage is? That's what they were telling us all 3 movies. That it did not matter where you came from. Be who you are. Look at Luke Skywalker. They found out Vader was Anakin Skywalker. Do you think Luke was like, nope, I don't want to take this name? No, he goes, no, I'm Luke Skywalker. He made something out of himself. You get that moment, and I hate this part of the movie. I literally screamed, like, F you at the screen at this moment because I was so pissed. The moment she gets asked, who are you? And she goes, Rey. And I go, all right, at least I know where this is going. I'm Rey Palpatine, you know, I'm taking back that name. And she goes, Skywalker. I literally was like, what? You're literally going against the message they've been telling you this whole movie. And you take a left turn and go, nope, I'm a Skywalker. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Stop. I was like, this movie, in my opinion, again, it's all subjective. If you feel different, I'm okay with that. This is just what I'm thinking. The whole trilogy was a failure. And why? Did they have good ideas? Absolutely. Did they have stuff sprinkled in that could have been cool if they would have expanded? Absolutely. There was no plan. There was no plan. You had a plan with Force Awakens, And then the next director comes in, throws the plan away, and says, I want to do my own thing. And then they try to course correct and do it and try to go back to the first one again to make it. It was a mess. It was a mess. Solo was a mess too. We'll have an episode on that too because I have a lot to say about that. That was a mess too because it goes against canon and it goes against story, which pissed me off. The only Star Wars movie, in my opinion, that was the best of them all was Rogue One. And even Rogue One had like problems. Like
Right.
you heard the behind the scenes from Kathleen Kennedy. It was a joke. It was a joke. I think we got a little bit more time. Yeah, we got a little more time. So yeah, let's bring this subject up now then. Okay. Let's talk about the state of Star Wars movies and things that should have been announced and ultimately went nowhere. And
Okay.
let's see. Let's go. And they're going to be out of order. I don't have dates, so this is going to be out of order, but these are the movies that like were a big problem. Boba Fett. I was supposed to go to Star Wars Celebration the year that they said, and this was, everybody knew about this. It was the worst kept secret in Lucasfilm. They had a trailer for Josh Trank's Boba Fett film. That was going to be a thing. That's not rumors. That's actual facts. He runs his mouth about Fox because of Fantastic Four. Disney goes, I don't want a guy running his mouth about our studio. Fires him. They had the trailer. They had the trailer on video, ready to go. We'll never see that trailer. We'll never see that movie because, of course, it wasn't filmed. So we will never see nothing of that. Then you got the Episode 9 director, not J.J. Abrams, Colin Trevorrow, who did Jurassic World. He was supposed to direct Episode 9. That got destroyed because they kicked him out. Even though I don't care what the story they say, they kicked him out to bring in JJ to kind of make it more fit for Force Awakens, which sucks because if you look online right now, everybody, if you want to know what I'm talking about, go look. Go look at the plot leak animation video on YouTube of Episode 9. It is completely different than what we got to see. Like there was like beheadings by like lightsaber blades. Like it was nuts. It was like apocalyptic world in the Star Wars universe all over. Like, that's cool. I would want to see that more than what we got. I mean, okay, then they got removed. Look at the Solo film. Did you know they had about 90% of that film filmed before they kicked out, I can't think of their names off the top of my head. The guys that did the Lego movie. They were going to do Solo. Yeah, you know, they had a 90% shot. Disney came out and said, no, that is not what we talked about.
And that's such a huge waste of money just to film that much
90% of the movie, you're telling me as a head of a corporation, you're not going in every day to see how your investment's doing. You're not seeing how this movie's being filmed. And then when it's almost done, you're going to be like, well, that's not what we talked about. You're the head of a studio. You tell them what you want. You tell them this is the movie we want. And then the film director goes, okay, I'll make that movie. But no, she kicks him off, brings in Ron Howard, reshoots the whole fucking movie, and the movie falls apart. Movie falls apart. Like, it's a joke. Another thing that's supposed to come up, and I'm going to talk about this because this is cool. Game of Thrones. Benioff and Weiss, they rushed the last season of Game of Thrones because of they were going on to Star Wars. They were doing a trilogy. Now, this is rumored from them, and I've heard it all over the place, so it can't be a rumor if it's going all over the place from actual big name people. The first movie of the trilogy was going to be about the Jedi Order and the formation of the Jedi Order. Take my money. James Mangold's actually doing that now. He's doing that now. And he's calling it Heir to the... that's Filoni's movie. I forget what they called it, but it's supposed to be the Golden Age of Jedi. That's what the first movie for Benioff and Weiss was supposed to be.
That would be a great movie.
Take my money.
The beginning of the Jedi Order, and then eventually the formation of the Sith and the rule of two.
That's where I'm going. At the end of the first movie, the last scene was supposed to be before he got, and I think this came out because when they got removed, they wanted everybody to know, so I think they put it out there. The end of the first movie, you were going to see one of the Jedi Order turn, leave, start the formation of the Sith Order. The whole second movie is all about the Sith Order and everything like that, all the inner problems and stuff like that. Again, take my money. I want this. The final movie was going to be the infamous Jedi Sith War that we heard everything about in the history of Star Wars. And at the very end, which I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about this because I want this. Darth Bane. Darth Bane starts the rule of two. Kills off every Sith. Makes the rule of two. Right there, right before the end of the movie. Take my money. Like, take my money. I want this. That would be fucking awesome. And the action in that movie would be insane. Insane.
And then you get the background for the whole back and forth between good and evil for...
And then you see by the end of the movie, they disappear and hide in the shadows and just work in the shadows. And that happens until episode 1. Take my money. So we got robbed of that. Then Kevin Feige comes out. Godfather of Marvel. Made the best saga in the entire Marvel universe before he was promoted and let somebody else take it over and fuck it up. The Thanos saga, or the Infinity Stone saga, if you want to call it what it's really called. That movies are great. That whole story was awesome. He wanted to do a Star Wars film. Take my money. His level of attention to detail, take my money. Like, what could he do? What have we heard since? Nothing. Taika Waititi, one of the best filmmakers out there. You know, Thor Ragnarok, great film. I mean, Jojo Rabbit, an actual Oscar contending film that was at the Oscars. I want to see what he'll do. What have we heard? Nothing. Then we get Patty Jenkins, which is the most depressing one of them all. You do this whole promo, and you can't sit there. Okay, the reason why this movie's not being made, from what I hear, is they never had a plan to do it, and it just fell apart. Now, I think that's a lie, because if you have no plan, why would you put all this production of her doing the promo announcement, of her walking down a flight deck to a full-size X-Wing, and her telling her about her father being a Navy pilot and in World War II, and she wanted to do something to give love to her grandfather and stuff like that, and literally called it Top Gun in Star Wars. Take my money. What are you doing? That is a win. That is a $1 billion film. A $1 billion film. What have we heard? Oh no, we're not doing it now because we didn't have a plan. But you did that commercial promo.
Yeah, and it wasn't short either. Like,
that had to be a big chunk of change just to be like, no, what?
There's no project. Like, she was literally just talking about a project.
And then we still have James Mangold, his film coming. Again, I don't trust any movies that are announced now by Disney, because after all that, there's been so much problems. Like, I can't trust it, because then I get excited and it doesn't happen, and then I'm like, oh. And then I get excited and then it's like, oh. Like, you can't. You just can't do that, and it's not how you run a business.
Just keep teasing people with stuff and then
like,
it, never talk about it
and
again.
It's not even me, just me. There's people, seriously, there's people that have been like, yeah, I love Star Wars and I get hyped for new stuff, but they keep canceling and it doesn't come and just disappears. So why even get excited? I mean, let's even go even further. It's not just the movies that were canceled. Let's even get even further. Video games. 1313. All you Star Wars fans out there and gamers, do you remember 1313? Where you're on the lowest level of the Coruscant and you're in like the crime and stuff? That game ended up coming out that it was a young Boba Fett game. And when they showed the actual game footage, it was like Uncharted, where you had to go behind. It was cover and shooter. It was a cover shooter. Awesome. I wanted it. The game was about 75% done. canceled. Why? People were excited. People wanted it. Why? Then we get the look at Uncharted, one of the best Sony-owned properties and franchises in video game history. Naughty Dog killed it with the Uncharted series. The lady who wrote, I'm bad with names today, the lady who wrote the Uncharted series, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, wrote this Star Wars game and was making the Star Wars game. And it was literally supposed to be Elder Scrolls in Star Wars. It was supposed to be open world, do what you want. And then it finally, once it got canceled, they finally told you what it was. It was a young Han Solo game. Take my money. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Why are you not giving us what we want? This is, instead of giving the fans what they want, you're giving us stuff we don't want and then trying to be like, this is what you want. No, we're telling you what we want. We are telling you what we want. But you're not giving it to us. So again, it's hard to be excited about a Star Wars show or movie or game if
they've just canceled so many things last minute or halfway done or most of the way done.
I mean, even look at I'll go back to video games again. Look at Jedi Fallen Order. When that was being made, they went to that company and was like, listen, no lightsabers. We just want blasters. And they're like, so Battlefront? Didn't you just have 2 games out like that? And they're like, yeah, lightsabers are only for movies. And he goes, no, fire us now. We are doing a game with Jedi. We are doing a game with Sith. We are doing a game with lightsabers. That's what our fans want. And they did it. And what happened? Ding, ding, ding. It was an uber success. And then they came out with the second one. Second one I wasn't a big fan of, and I never finished it. I wasn't a big fan of it. It was a lot of platforming. And don't get me wrong, I love platforming, but there was a lot of platforming in the second Jedi Fallen Order game. A lot of platforming. I was not a big fan of that one. But I never got to finish it, but I loved it. Another ding, ding, ding success. They just announced the 3rd game in this series. That is dope. Anytime I can be a single player game where I have my own campaign, bam, I'm good.
And a lightsaber.
So let's see. Okay, so this wasn't planned. I'm just coming this off the top of my head. That's going to happen sometime in this episode. They're just going to come off and we're going to talk about it. What would you think if they made a Gears of War style game, but with lightsabers and stormtroopers, and plan it in the Clone Wars era?
Wow. I mean, I love Gears of War. I love the entire Gears of War franchise. I'd say that if they did it right, that it could probably be an amazing game. I mean,
again,
the Gears of War franchise is a huge hit, huge success. I mean, they've had 6 or 7 games.
Five, and then
they have Judgment or whatever. I think was 1, 2. They had Gears 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Judgment.
Yep.
I can't remember if there was anything else.
There was a strategy game called Gears Tactics too.
Yes.
So if they did it right, I completely agree with you. But you give me that, and you say it's in the style of Gears of War, where you're going from one point to the board to the end of the board to get to your mission. Take my money. That's what I want. And that's what I'm glad that can happen now, because now that EA doesn't own the license for Star Wars, that was the worst thing ever. I don't care. I will yell and scream about that all through the day. EA should have never had a lock on Star Wars.
I don't want to bash EA on here, but
I'll bash them. Fuck them.
Madden's the same game every year.
How do you have the license for 7 years and all you give us is Fallen Order 2, or not Fallen Order, Battlefront.
Oh yeah.
Battlefront 2, and then that Star Wars Rogue Squadron game, where the whole game you're just flying. 4 years or 7 years, you give us 3 games? That's pitiful. And you were the reason why they canceled the other 2? Because of that's why 1313 got canceled, because EA was pushing their might. Like, and you cancel 2 games that people actually care about? Like, that's a joke. Like, that's a joke. Now everybody's making a Star Wars game. You got the Fallen Order game. You got this. I forget what they called it because I just saw the trailer earlier and it passes my mind. You're like a smuggler. Okay. You're a female smuggler. Game looks raw and it's all about like being stealthy. And I'm like, okay.
I enjoy stealth games.
Yeah.
I mean,
it makes
stealth missions and games and stuff.
I'm like, this is dope. And fun. Because it's all about her being a rebel and you can't be caught.
Right.
So that whole stealth is trying to be a rebel. Like, that is great. Take my money. I can't wait for this. A game that has been canceled, and I don't think it's from Disney or EA or whatever, but I really, really, really wanted, and of course there's no footage, no game footage, nothing. It was just a concept animation trailer. Star Wars Eclipse.
Oh yeah, you showed me that the other day.
That game looked incredible.
The concept was great. Look it up if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
You can find it online.
Yeah, because
Star Wars Eclipse.
It was done by Quantum Dream, who did Detroit Become Human, which in my opinion is like one of the top games of all time. One of the greatest of all time. That game was fucking amazing. And you could have changed everything and it changed their whole story. So great. So if you like that type of game, check out one of their first games called Heavy Rain about a serial killer. Great game too. But the whole thing, what I heard about this game, was the game was going to take 60 hours to complete. And it was split into 3 characters. And you had to do each one to complete the game completely. You're supposed to be the good guy, the bad guy, and the neutral. And it looked incredible. Just from the trailer, like you get to see like the pounding on these war drums and this guy come out of the black ooze and you see Yoda in the Jedi Temple looking worried. Like, I want to play this. Like, what is this? Like, legit, what is this? I hope this game isn't canceled. They're still working on it and we just don't know anything because I want this game. And if it's anything like in the quality of Detroit Become Human, oh, I'm so about it. And it's your pick your own. Oh, I'm so about it. So about it. Also, what I think, I don't know if you're a role player, like Star Wars role-playing game, like Knights of the Republic and stuff like that. You have the biggest corporations now in Xbox. You have Blizzard. You have, like, BioWare. You have... I forget what the company's called off the top of my head, that did Knights of the Republic 2. You have all these companies, all these role-playing companies, all in the same bubble for Xbox now. Give us a Knights of the Old Republic remake. I know, someone's going to yell at me. Sony already confirmed it. Sony only confirmed it. Yeah, where is it? Where is it? Sony hasn't talked about it since it was announced. Is it canceled? If it is, cancel it. Let somebody else do it. Because I think if you bring BioWare... and you bring Blizzard being like the king of role-playing games, Diablo, like, give me a Knights of the Republic game or give me a Star Wars game that's original, that has nothing we know about and just be role-playing and expand the world. Take my money. Yeah. Take it. I definitely want it.
You know something we didn't get into today?
What's that?
I don't think we got into this.
Got a little bit more time.
The history, the reason behind why we're calling this RB67.
Oh yeah, come on, Star Wars fans, you know this. Rebel Base, come on. Rebels. But 67, do you guys know what 67 stands for? For anybody that doesn't, 67 stands for Order 67, which it was in the books, it was never in live action, nothing like that, because it never really happened. Order 67 was made for Vader's Fist, which is the army that Vader goes with that are actual clones still. And what it is if Vader ever rised up against the Empire and raised up against Palpatine himself, he would execute Order 67. And 67 would have his clones turn on Vader and shoot him. Now, I get it. Vader doesn't know it's coming. And I'm sorry, Vader's a beast. Don't get me wrong. Vader's one of the baddest badasses in the world. You're not going to stop all that laser fire. You're not.
If you're surrounded by that many people, I mean, that's why
you're
Jedi
done.
Were killed. Order 66, like
you're done.
They're great with a lightsaber, amazing fighters, but when you have that many lasers from many directions, and
absolutely. Like I thought about that and it came to me. I was like, yo, Rebel Base 67. And I was like, that's where it's going forward. So we're going to cut it here. Next week, we're going to be talking about any Star Wars news that comes out, any new projects announced, stuff like that. And then we're going to try to get into either the expanded universe and what got us into the expanded universe and our memories of that, and a lot of like the old books. I gave my buddy here a whole bunch of books to catch up on because there's so much stuff in the expanded universe that's actually cool. Like Han's son becoming a Sith Lord, and Han and Leia getting married, and the Dark Empire series, and the Thrawn series, and the Hand of Thrawn series. Like, so much cool books are out there. And then we'll talk about some new ones as well. Like, there's a couple lines in these books that I want to talk about because they would have made the books or the movies a little bit more like heart pumping. And I'll tell you one example to give you an idea. In the book to Revenge of the Sith, there's a moment in the movie, and you'll see it in the movie, where Obi-Wan is looking down at Anakin burning, and he goes, the whole, you were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them. And there's a moment at the end where he goes, I love you. And then he gets up and walks away. There was an extra line in the book that I thought was cool that I would have wanted. And again, it's only one more line, but it kind of hits home how bad it hurts Obi-Wan by the time you get to Obi-Wan. Is he tells him, I loved you, but I can't save you. That would have been amazing in the movie, because then that shows that Obi-Wan has to walk away from his best friend because of what he did. That would have been awesome. Also, another thing from a book that I'll just give you a little teaser about that we're going to talk about next week and stuff like that. One of the things in Obi-Wan I didn't get, and I would have loved to see this in live action form. It would have been 30 seconds. 30 seconds, a minute tops. All you do is film it. In the book, I forget what the book's called, but it's about Obi-Wan. I think it's called Life and Time of Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's a moment they talk about in the book that after Anakin burns, Obi-Wan didn't know Vader was alive. He thought he was dead. He thought he left him to die on Mustafar. That's why he said, I can't save you. He was going to leave him there to die because he was literally on fire. He was becoming literally a roasted marshmallow. There's a moment in a cantina where Obi-Wan is sitting there and he's having a drink, and you can tell he's upset. He's thinking about everything he's done. He's thinking about Anakin's turn, what Anakin did, how he could have been a better master to him, how he made mistakes, how the Jedi made mistakes on Anakin. Thinking about all this, ripping himself up inside, trying to heal, but you could tell he's tortured for what he had to go through. And then he sees on the holotube, and they're talking about the Empire sweeping in and taking care of stuff. And then you see Vader, and they're saying, led by Darth Vader. And Obi-Wan has this moment, a minute moment of just having like a meltdown. He's throwing shit. He's pissed. He's yelling. He's ready to fight anybody that walks up. And he's starting to use his force powers. And he has to think, oh crap, I need to stop. They're going to find me. He has that moment where he knows. And it's that moment that it really registers with Obi-Wan. I need to get Luke ready. There's got to be a moment when Luke is ready to be sent to Yoda, when he is ready to face his father, to save the galaxy. Which, how much more time I got? I got one more thing that I really want to talk about. Okay, we've got about 8 minutes, so we're good. So, one other thing I really want to talk about, and this is a sore subject with Star Wars fans because I always get both sides of the stories. Who is the chosen one? Who's the chosen one? The prophecy said. Now, I'm going to let you go first because I have a bunch to say that I can back up.
I mean, which side do you want to hear about? I mean, if it's Luke, because
who do you think? My question to you is, who do you think is the chosen one? That's the question. Who do you think the chosen one is?
I would say Anakin.
Anakin?
I said Anakin for taking out Palpatine in the end.
Okay, I disagree with you 100%, and I'll explain why. Yes, he kills Palpatine at the end. I get that.
Until
In my
episode 9
opinion,
comes out.
Anakin is unredeemable. He is unredeemable. He killed younglings. He's supposed to be this prophecy one. They even say it in episode 3. It's either episode 2 or 3. I can't remember because I've watched them so many times that blend in one another. Where Yoda says maybe the prophecy we got was wrong about Anakin. It was, and I'll tell you why. He did all these evil things to become Vader. When he killed those kids, he was unredeemable. There was no light left in him. No light. The moment, there's a thing I call the coming to Jesus moment for Star Wars. It's happened 3 times. The third one's just shit. The first one, Anakin, Palpatine on the ground, Mace Windu. There's the coming of moment Jesus. Let him kill Palpatine. Let him kill him. Because it's done. Why you killed Dooku for the same shit? But we need him. No, you know he runs the courts. He had that moment. He took that moment. He went dark. He cut his hand off and everything went to that. Rogue One. Literally killing innocent rebels for no reason. Obi-Wan's show. Dragging a woman by her throat through the town. There's no light in him.
Yeah, he goes hard in that one.
Also, I'm going to say something else that I've never said before that I thought about too if we read the comics. The fact is, well, it's not fact, it's rumored and it's in the pages of the comics that Palpatine created Anakin through the Force.
He's a child of the Force.
The prophecy was supposed to be a kid through the Force to do something. Palpatine polluted it with the dark side to create Anakin. Anakin created Luke. Luke was that balance. Luke was that prophesized one because it was that moment where, and again, you get 2 coming to Jesus moment in one movie. The third one being in The Last Red Skywalker, but you get the coming of Jesus moment where Luke is he's fighting Vader because he found out, your sister, and he's fighting him. You could see the darkness in him. And the moment Palpatine says, kill him, enjoy my side. He, again, coming to Jesus moment. When I mean coming to Jesus moment, I mean you get faced with 2 opposite odds. What do you do? That's your coming to Jesus moment. You got to make that decision that's going to change the rest of your life. What did Luke do? Throw a lightsaber away, say, I am a Jedi like my father. Bam. Awesome. That made Vader become good. Because then the Emperor started going after Luke. And do you think, in anybody's mind, that Vader was going to let the Emperor kill his kid? Kill one of his kids? In front of him when he didn't even save Padme? No way in hell. No way in hell.
No.
So in my opinion, it's Luke. Vader is a tool in the prophecy.
Right.
Luke is the one. Because if there's no Luke, there's no Vader knowing he has kids alive. There's no Vader coming back to the light side. And there's some jaded fans that I think is funny and makes me laugh that go, well, Vader got redeemed. He should have just, found a way to stay alive. Okay. Let's talk about this in a realistic sense. Vader goes to the light. He survives. He tells everybody, I killed the Emperor. I stopped the Empire. Vader is a war criminal. Vader has killed loads and loads of people. Do you think he's going to be accepted? No. He's going to be in a galactic prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah, there's no redeeming the things that he's done.
No. So he had to die. He had to die. But it just makes me weirded out, though, when they're like, Anakin always had good in him. Vader always had good in him. No, you can't be redeemed. You can't be redeemed if you kill children. You can't. There's no way. No way. No way in hell. Absolutely. Like, did he come back and redeem himself? Yes, and that's what I think is even more powerful, in my opinion, for Ahsoka and that smile, because he realized, you know what? I stopped another person from going down my path.
Yeah.
And I think that's what mattered most to Anakin. But we're going to cut this here. Like I said, next week we're going to come up with some news. We're going to talk about news. We're going to talk about different couple things. We're going to get into books and anything else that we talk about. But we will see you next week.
Give us a like, give us a follow.
Absolutely.
Share, subscribe.
Absolutely.
All that good stuff.
We will be sharing this on YouTube. We will share this on Facebook, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, anywhere we can. I'm Darth Crimson.
Jedi Master Grady.
We'll see you next time.